Yep,
And we're live. Okay, guys, so I apologize once again for the error. This application that I'm using breaks down a lot, so I'm really sorry about that, guys. But yeah, nevertheless, I'm gonna try and continue on this Q&A, which you guys have been showing great support on, and we're gonna have to end it in about 20 minutes, just letting you guys know. So if you have any more questions, start firing away now, so I can reply to as many as possible. Also, I'll just try to recap on the trapjaw things. So trapjaw ants are flying currently in Singapore and Malaysia and most of Southeast Asia. I can tell of this because my trapjaw colony is producing multiple alates in the nest at the moment. I'll try and find some. But yeah, alright, let's bring on the up-to-date questions.
What period of the day can I catch queen ants?
Okay, so I covered this in the first broken live stream, but you can catch queen ants most of the time, the best time at night when it gets cool after a rainstorm. That's the best time, and make sure that you're looking around lights. Lighted areas are usually the best place to find queen ants, and you'll have the best success rate there. Alright, any other questions?
Is it a trapjaw nuptial flight from Malaysia? This is being answered.
Yes, I've answered this already. Yes, there are trapjaw nuptial flights happening now in Malaysia, most likely. They're definitely happening in Singapore, since you can see right here, there is a trapjaw alate, queen alate. There's about 10 of these deep in the nest. But yeah, alright. Any other questions?
Let's see.
Okay, and just to let you guys know, couple recommendations. Make sure when you're keeping your ants in test tube setups, when it gets moldy like this, make sure to move them as fast as possible. If it's not that moldy, then you don't really need to move them into a fresh test tube setup. Ant pupae, or when they're in their egg stage, take around a month to 2 months to develop, depending on the species. Usually with small species like Solenopsis geminata, Nyandaria, Pheidole, their eggs will take from 2 weeks to a month to emerge. But with larger species like Camponotus and Odontomachus diacama, those kinds of ants, they will take usually a month to 2 months to even 3 months for them to develop as they're larger ants. Okay, any other questions?
What period of the day can I catch queen ants?
Okay, I already answered this question, but you can catch them at night is the best time. But you can catch them really any time of day in most regions, like in Europe. You can catch them at night. Is pretty much nighttime's the best time, around lights. But in Asia, just to let you guys know, nuptial flight season for species are never really set in stone. There'll be maybe a couple rogue trapjaw queens flying, even though it's past their nuptial flight season, or maybe weaver ant queens, for example, will be flying outside of their nuptial flight season. Okay, any other questions? Oh, and by the way, the best time to catch queens for those of you guys who are living in temperate regions is spring to summer. Even in fall, you can catch queens like Prenolepis in Paris, but the time you'll have the best success rate is around spring and summertime. While in Singapore and places like Asia, you can really catch ants at any time of the day, usually in monsoon season, rainy season in your country, as long as they do not have seasons.
Will your ants eat more artificial mixes of food such as protein powder?
I've never tried feeding my ants protein powder. To be honest, I really don't think that they would eat artificial substances like that. They'll eat ant jellies, ant protein jellies, like this, but I do not think that they will eat some protein or have some protein shakes for that matter. But yeah, okay. Any more questions?
Can you feed? Sorry, one from earlier.
Okay, it's fine.
Why can't I find ants at night?
So, the probability depends how many times you've gone and where you live. If you've gone like maybe once, and sometimes even if it rains, there will not be queens flying sometimes. And sometimes when it doesn't rain, there'll be queens flying, you know. Ants are very unpredictable, you know. At night, it depends. Maybe you weren't looking at the right spots. Some lights will be more attractive for other ants. Like maybe the brighter. Most of the time, it's the brightest lights that attract the most ants, not the soft kind of tinted lights. Okay. Any other questions?
Right, yeah. Just... Okay, there's a lot of simple ones. So just repeat again.
Okay, again.
Can I feed my trapjaw male ant drones and ant queens?
Yes, you can. You can feed your trapjaws anything most of the time, as long as it's an arthropod, and it's not ridiculously huge like a tarantula or something like that. Like mealworms are the best, and you can feed them male elates and stuff like that. And it's best if you've just founded your trapjaw queen to cut up the food. Only feed it to her live every once in a while after she gets stronger in that kind of sense, or maybe when she gets her first nanitics. Okay, anyway, so if you guys are wondering, I have 2 colonies right now. My trapjaws, which I recently moved into this giant 90 cm by 40 cm by 50 cm tank, which they love since they have so much foraging ground. And I actually put this little concrete section, which you guys may recognize from the Camponotus setup, because I actually moved the Camponotus into this large naturalistic setup with a bunch of plants, and they are doing really well in it for now. You can see they are nesting under the rock, and for the trapjaws, I gave them a lot of space, and this is related to one of my goals of ant keeping, which is to give the ants a taste of reality as much as possible, you know. So Camponotus ants usually like to live under things like logs, rocks, stuff like that, and as well as with ants. Alright, I think my friend has found a very funny comment. Well, if you guys are wondering why the title of this video is that, well, it's because my friend who created the channel art can be very funny sometimes, but yeah, okay. Any more questions? I'll probably change the thumbnail for this live stream once I end it, but I hope I can cover most of the frequently asked questions. By the way, if your ant queen does not lay eggs for about a week or 2, that does not mean that it's infertile. I caught this Camponotus iritis queen, and it took her about 2 months to lay her eggs. Now she has tons of eggs laid. Okay, we got some questions.
How long will it take for a trapjaw to lay eggs?
Okay, that's a very good question. So I'm going to answer this with just a couple more questions that I get asked. So usually it would take a trapjaw queen, depends. My trapjaw queen started laying eggs the day after I caught her. But I would say you have to be very patient with trapjaws. Make sure they settle in nice and comfortably. Maybe give them about a month or so, at the very most a month, if they don't have their wings. If they do have their wings, then maybe give them about 3 weeks, because I will probably identify that they are infertile. But make sure you just keep on feeding them, and maybe you will be lucky. And trapjaw eggs, once they lay them, should take around 3 weeks to 3 months to develop. It really just depends on the room and the temperature you're keeping your ants at. Okay, couple more questions, and then I'm afraid we'll have to wrap this live stream up. And also, guys, leave a like if you liked this kind of live stream. If we get maybe 30 likes or so, I will do these more frequently, as they take a bit of time and organization to set up. Okay. Any other questions?
Is there a nuptial flight in Malaysia?
Okay, well, in Asia, in at least Southeast Asia, where there are hardly any seasons other than the monsoon season and the, well, you could say sunny season or whatever, there are nuptial flights happening almost every day. Like every day I go out after a rainstorm, I will see queen ants flying everywhere, male, and always, pretty much every night I will see at least 3 male elates on ceilings and stuff like that. So in Malaysia, I would say yes, there are most definitely nuptial flights happening now. So you can go out there now at nighttime and go and catch some queens, and good luck with that. Okay, any more questions?
What happens if you give food when the queen is in its founding stages?
Okay, so usually I would recommend giving your queen a bit of honey if it's just a fully claustral queen, which means it doesn't need to feed on protein like trapjaw queens need to. So the question was asking, what was it again?
What happens if you give food to a queen and it's
Nothing really will change. Maybe she'll just be a bit more energetic in the test tube setup. Usually I don't really notice that much of a difference other than that she'll live longer and she'll probably be a bit more healthy in that kind of sense. But make sure you don't give them too much honey, because some of my friends made a crucial mistake with giving their queens too much honey and they drowned in them. So yeah. Alright, any more questions?
Are trapjaws polygynous?
Yes, they are. I talked about this a bit of, in my old live stream, which got shut down. They are polygynous. In fact, in my trapjaw colony, I've spotted 3 queens in the same colony. They're really hard to find because they're hidden behind all this gravel, but they are polygynous. So are ant colonies like Pheidole colonies, and I actually covered this in the basics of ant keeping, a video that I made. But yeah, it's really hard to find a queen in the nest. I'm gonna try and look for you guys, and if I do, you'll be very, I think I might have yes! There is one. Okay, it's very rare to find her. She's hidden behind a bunch of workers. I don't think I can show you guys, but